Welcome everybody, and welcome back to today's video. It's a video with a difference, and it might be all the better for it because I'm not in it. So finally decided to try and do the game room tour, and this is obviously the view you normally have at the backdrop of the videos, aside from the monkey who's normally sitting and blocking the view of the nice stuff. So I think what we'll do is we'll pan round the room, you know, by the end of the video. But this is kind of what you're used to, so I think we'll come back to that, I think, and we'll just pan round this way to start with. So that's kind of the limit of what you normally see on the video there, where we've got the Evercade. So the next section's just computer, you know, boring. And this section here is kind of my CRT section. And as you can see, we've got 4 CRTs in total. Sorry about the camera shaking, doing my best. And then up the top we've got a little shelf, and we've just got a few bits and bobs up there. We've got the minis, obviously, as you can see, the NES, the SNES and the Mega Drive. And then we've got a couple of boxes on the top. We've got the box for my NES Game Boy Advance SP, and box for a Conic Speed King joystick, which is one of my all-time favourite joysticks. Might make a few people laugh as to how bad they think it is, but I personally love it. And then we've got the joystick for the NES Mini, obviously. And then we've got a little light up item block, which I think is quite cool. And then panning back down, another couple of boxes there, obviously my original DMG Game Boy. It's not my original one, it's one I've bought, you know, in recent years, but it's in lovely condition, just like I had back in the day. Clearly remember driving back from Toys R Us in the back of the car, blasting away on Tetris. What a game. Must be the greatest packing game ever for me. And then we've got the Evercade box, obviously. Then panning down here, we've got 2 CRTs. Now these are predominantly for the Spectrums, and we've got 2 Spectrums set up, as you can see. We've got the original rubber key 48K, and then we've also got my system of choice, which is the 128 Plus. I personally prefer that to the Plus 2, just purely because you've got your own separate tape recorder which you can control the volume on, which you can't, you know, it gives you a few more options, I think, than the Plus 2 having it all built in. But each to their own. I understand some people think the Plus 2 is the better machine. And then obviously you can see we've got the 128s running, and it's playing probably my all-time favourite Spectrum game, which is Renegade. Absolutely amazing conversion, by far the best one for me. It's miles better than the Master System, the NES, C64, whatever you want. The Spectrum 128 version with in-game music is mega. And then over this side we've got it's an Atari, what's it called? Atari Arcade joystick, which is for an iPad basically. But it turns your iPad into kind of a, I suppose it's like a Tate arcade tabletop console really, and it works with, just saw me there, don't want to see that. Yeah, so it works with the Atari app, and you've got quite a few different games on there. Got my personal favourite running, which is Tempest, which is the you know, the original arcade version. Absolutely mega. I just think that's quite cool. That it's a nice little stick as well. It's micro switched. It's a nice little thing. and you pick them up really cheap these days. And yeah, that one's in lovely condition as well. So yeah, there's my my Spectrum section. So then, if we pan down to the lower level, we've then got, oh, that was, oh, I don't know if you probably noticed, one's just a standard CRT, and then we've got a VCR combi as well, which is quite cool. I'm not into collecting VHS, but I don't know, I'm tempted to pick up one or two, just, you know, just a couple of cool films. I kind of like the Back to the Future box set I used to have back in the day, so maybe in the future. Right, then lower down, that's just drawers full of any old shit. For, you know, got some spare manuals and broken cartridges and all the random shit you accumulate. I'm sure we've all got some. And then we've got another two CRTs. Now that's my best one, the Sony. Fantastic CRT, and it used to be at the on the backdrop to the videos. If you've been watching the channel for a while, till I had a change around, it was over there. And then we've got, that's actually a DVD combi, and it does give an absolutely beautiful picture, that set. It's nothing fancy, it's only on the Makeys. I mean, I do remember it back in the day, but it's hardly top quality stuff, but it's a beautiful picture. And then we've got, to the side, as you can see, we've got the UK Dreamcast, which, you know, awesome console, and this one's in lovely nick, it's no yellowing, and there's some fantastic games on the Dreamcast, as I'm sure you know. And it doesn't, you know, it's a PAL Dreamcast as good as an NTSC Dreamcast in the sense that you can play at 60 Hz and it's full screen. So at that point, importing consoles became irrelevant, really, aside from stuff what wasn't available in Europe anyway. And then next up we've got, just go a bit closer on the Dreamcast. As you can see, it's in really nice white, lovely condition. And then next shelf up we've got my original white PC Engine, which has been RGB modded, which again makes the picture quality great. And you can't, these original white PC Engines aren't very sort of good for running on UK TVs, because there was no composite, I don't think, and so unless, if it's unmodified, you're going to have problems. But this one, as I say, has been modified, and you just use a Mega Drive 2 RGB lead and it works mint. And again, you can run it, the power supply is also a Mega Drive 1 power supply and a UK power supply, obviously, and runs absolutely mint. Cracking little machine, absolutely love the PC Engine. And then on the top here we've got, this is actually a PAL Mega Drive, but it's been modded and it runs 60 Hz and runs Japanese and American games, and the PAL obviously still, but yeah, so it'll run anything basically. I mean, I'm not nearly as keen on the Mark II as the Mark I, but as a machine it's really versatile. And it, again, with the RGB cable, it looks absolutely mint on the 14-inch CRT, which, you know, I know modern displays are fantastic, but for retro gaming you can't beat a CRT for me. They're absolutely immense. Right, so that's boring, just a shredder and a bin. Right, back over this side then. So, starting on this end, obviously this is what you see at the back of the videos. We've got standard, I think it's a 21-inch widescreen TV, nothing fancy. I think it was from Tesco's or Asda or somewhere. But it's a nice TV. Gives a good picture, so it does what I need it to. And then obviously we've got the pink PS2 Slim. Lovely machine. Been wanting one of these for quite some time. It's a fairly recent pickup in the past 12 months or so. And it's modded and plays any region, UK or PAL, USA NTSC and Japanese NTSC. So you can play any PS1 or PS2 game in there, which is fantastic and really helpful. Saves having lots of different consoles out. And then we've got the Evercade Versus, which I got for Christmas. Love the console, absolutely brilliant, such brilliant value for money. Thoroughly recommend anybody who's into their retro gaming, who hasn't already got, you know, an extensive retro collection. You can't go wrong with one of these. And the games are so cheap. I've got mine stored up there at the moment. Not a full collection. I'm hoping to get a full collection one day. But yeah, it's a brilliant system, and the games, like I say, for £17, nice little box with a manual. It's so good. Right, now this is a PS1, obviously, but it's American, and it's unmodified, so this will only play American PS1 discs. Had this for quite some time, but I love the look of the PS1. So, you know, I don't really use it that much now. I know I've got the pink one that plays everything, but I just, like I say, I just love the look of the PS1. It's an iconic kind of console, isn't it? And then next to it, I thought, obviously, same generation, we've got the legendary Sega Saturn. Again, absolutely brilliant console for me. It was my favourite back in the day. I was on the Sega horse, not the Sony pony, and still love it to this day, because, as you're probably well aware, I love my Sega arcade games, in particular the racing games. And then coming down again, we've got my original Xbox. Now, this is the one I had brand new back at launch, whatever it was, 22 years ago, something like that. But yeah, unmodified, completely as it was. Still works great, a great console. Many people consider it the Dreamcast 2, don't they? I'm not sure about that, but it's a great console, great to collect for. And then next to it we've got, this is my Japanese Wii U, which I picked up a few months ago, and I showed in one of my earlier videos. So again, this is unmodified, so it'll only play Japanese Wii U or Wii games. But that's all I needed to do, so I was chuffed to get that. You can see a bit of messy cables under there. That's freak a few people out. Doesn't worry me too much. Right, then we've got, this is, I have recently had a sort of reorganisation and, as I say, changed the backdrop of the videos. Because obviously CRTs don't show up that well on camera, or at least not my camera. So I wanted to change it to an LCD behind, so as the picture looked better. And this just fitted the gap perfectly. So I had a change around. Now this is a really old TV, you know, it must be well over 10 years old. And although, you know, the picture quality is not as good as like a modern TV would be, it's got so many sockets on the back. You know, you can plug anything into it more or less. It's got HDMI, it's got S-video, it's got composite. I think there's a VGA on it as well. It's a cracking TV. And I've got more or less every socket, you know, a different console connected to every socket on it, I think. Then we've got the mighty Vectrex. What a fantastic console. I can't speak highly of the Vectrex enough. I appreciate it a of people might think it's antiquated rubbish, but for me it's so cool having the vector display and an all-in-one sort of tabletop unit, and again in sort of a tight monitor screen, as in it's taller than it is wide. It's absolutely mega. Thoroughly recommend a Vectrex. It's just such a shame now that they are quite a lot of money. I've probably had mine around 12 years or so now, and at the time you could buy them for about 100 quid. And we've just got Mindstorm running on that, which is the built-in game. But I have obviously, I did a video on the Vectrex a couple of months ago now probably, and went into more depth on that. If you're interested, you can go back and check that out. Right, next we've got, coming across from the Evercade games, we've got an original NES. Nothing special. It's not the cleanest example in the world. It's gone a bit yellow. And it's not something I really use very often. As I've said in previous videos, I was never a NES kid. It was Master System for me, and all my mates had Master Systems. Didn't know anyone with a NES, and I'm kind of only discovering the NES more now, really. Then we've got the Master System 1. Again, it's not my original, but I much prefer the Master System 1 to the 2. The 2's crap in my opinion, but the 1's fantastic. It's got the card port, it's got RGB out, it's mega. This one's modded, and it runs, again, full screen, 60 Hz. Fantastic, beautiful console. Then coming down, we've got the Japanese white Saturn, and got the RAM cart in the back as well, as you can see. Again, it's not the best example. It's yellowed a bit, unfortunately, but it works great. So absolutely does everything I need it to. Next to that is my original Japanese Dreamcast, and this, as I say, is the original from back in the day. It was day of launch, or as soon as you could get it in Britain anyway. And as I say, I had it on the day and kept it ever since. Still works fantastic, in lovely condition. What more is there to say? The Dreamcast is just mega. And I forgot to say, I haven't got the boxes for all these consoles. Some of them I have. The Dreamcast I have, obviously, because I've had it from new. But previous to that, I've still got the box for the Saturn, which, yeah, I had that off you, Daz. That's yours. You know who you are. But yeah, I've still got the box and everything, and still works mint. You did a good job with that, mate. That's, I forgot to say as well, that's modified to run 60 Hz as well, full screen, Japanese. Still got the box for my Xbox and the Wii U, obviously. No box for the Vectrex, unfortunately. Right, next shelf down. Now this is the N64, obviously, and again I did a video on this quite some time back now. This is RGB modded, which changed my opinion of the console completely. Never used to think that much of it, even though I had one from launch, and I've still got my original launch console. But if you get an RGB modded one, guys, honestly, your opinion of it's going to be transformed. It's so much better, and it spurred me on to collect quite a lot for it. Actually, I've probably got more games for the N64 than I have for either of the Saturn or the PlayStation, to be honest, which I'd never have believed would be the case. Right, next to that we've got, this is my original Japanese GameCube, again from launch. Still works fantastic, in great nick, obviously, got the box and everything. This one's been modified, switched, so you can flick the switch and it'll turn it into either USA or Japanese. So again, that'll play any import game. Then next to that we've got the daddy, in my opinion. I just love the Spice Orange GameCube. One of the best consoles ever made for me. Absolutely love the look of it. The only way you can beat it for me is if you've got a Panasonic Q, and if you have, much respect. Got the matching Game Boy player, obviously, and that's if you've got Game Boy games, that must be the best peripheral you can buy, because I'm not really into handheld gaming, but to play them on, you know, a normal TV, I know they're not cheap, but honestly the Game Boy player is a fantastic thing to buy. Next down we've got my Amiga 600. Now I know a lot of people don't like the 600, but this is the model I had back in the day, and although this isn't my original, I really wanted what I used to have in the past, so that's why I bought this, and I've had this one probably 10-15 years now. Not got a massive Amiga collection, but I didn't have one back in the day either. I've just recollected the games I used to have and a couple of extra ones. There are some mega things on the Amiga. Personally, I just love Lotus Turbo Challenge and the Dizzy games. I could never get tired of them. So moving across now, we've got the Retron HD. This is basically a modern NES. Now a lot of people might frown upon these kind of consoles, but I've got nothing against them personally. You can connect them to a modern TV. This one is HDMI, and there is a switch on the bottom. You can run, you know, you can change between PAL and NTSC. I bought this one primarily for PAL games, so it's just switched, set to PAL, and you can see a multi-cart in there, which is really good value for the money, to be honest. But yeah, so that's why I don't use my original Nintendo, because I just use this. It's, you know, it's better for me on a modern TV, and it's far less temperamental than the Nintendo. And then on the bottom shelf we've got Game Boy Advance, obviously. This isn't my original, although I do still have my original from Japanese launch in the box. Mine was a white one. This is is it crystal, or I forget what it's called. It's kind of see-through, like bluey clear, transparent type thing. And then we've got the ColecoVision, which I never had back in the day and don't remember ever seeing in the shops, but again, bought this maybe 10-15 years ago, and it was modded to run composite and to run NTSC full screen, full speed, and it's a fantastic console. If it, you know, although it was around at the same time as the 2600, it's far better than the 2600. It's more like, it's kind of halfway between a 2600 and a NES stroke Master System. Really love that console. Cracking. It's just the controllers are bloody crap. Right, now back up to the other side, and that's just an aerial splitter box from the aerial on the roof, split 6 ways. And then we've got here, as you can see, now this, I've had these, well, this is a Genesis 2 and a Genesis 32X and a Sega CD2. Now the Genesis 2 and 32X are my original from new. Unfortunately I've not got the boxes for these anymore, they got destroyed. I'm absolutely gutted about that every time I think about it. It never goes, it never gets any easier. My Sega CD is not my original. I did sell that back in the day because I was never a big fan of the Sega CD. But I bought another one in recent years to get the old complete combination back together. And as you can see in the top there, we've got an EverDrive, and that then coupled with the 32X, you can run the entire Mega Drive and 32X library off the EverDrive then. And then over this side we've got a Genesis 1, and this is a PAL Mega CD 1, but then with the CDX converter that then allows you to plug the PAL Mega CD one into the USA Genesis one, because obviously standard they don't work, but with the CDX converter it will, and it then also plays any region disc in the Mega CD as well. I mean, personal choice, but I much prefer the Mark 1 to the Mark II setup, but each their own. But it's nice to have both anyway, being as it's one of the best consoles ever made. Right, then we've got, as you're probably well aware, the Famicom and Super Famicom. Now the Famicom isn't actually usable at the moment. I need to get it modded at some point, but I just bought it because it was in such clean condition, and it was a real nice colour. A lot of these have gone badly yellow, but this one still looks really nice. So I just bought it when I saw it, and at some point I need to get it modded to run composite or something of that nature anyway. Then we've got my Super Famicom. Now this is a really nice example, completely unmodified. Still got the box and it's in lovely condition, and as you can see we've got Top Racer in there, which is an awesome game, basically the SNES version of Lotus Turbo Challenge. And then we've got my American Super Nintendo. Now a lot of people obviously might think this is a bloody ugly brick, and you might be right, but there's something about it. It is bloody ugly. I don't know what they were thinking, but I don't know. I had an American one back in the day, and this is still, you know, this is mine from back in the day, and it spent most of its time in life in its box. It's more or less brand new, and it's in pristine condition. The box is all still original, like brand new, with all the baggies and everything. So, you know, I just thought it was nice to put them together. I've only recently put it there, as you've probably seen in the videos. But yeah, I thought it was just nice to have the complete trio of, you know, Nintendo greatness. Right, next shelf down, we've got the Jaguar. Now, much maligned. I'm sure a lot of people think they're crap, but personally I think it's much sort of, I don't know, it's certainly not rubbish, and I've got kind of a soft spot for it. I think it's a great looking console, and the controller's not nearly as bad as some people make it out to be. It's quite comfortable to hold. It's just the D-pad isn't up to much, but I think it's a cracking console. Now this, I've had this years and years, and again, obviously you know me, I've never bought import consoles. This is an American Jaguar, and again I've got the box for this. So much nicer than the PAL one, running borders and slow speed. But as I said in my top 10 games of all time video, Tempest 2000 on this. It's so good. No better game. It's absolutely incredible. Big fan of the Jag, and there's only 50 games in a full set. It's kind of tempting to go for that, but a lot of them are difficult to get. I mean, I wouldn't collect boxed. I'd only buy cart only, but I don't know. It's kind of on the back burner. I'm not ruling out going for a full set of Jag games. I've got about 15 at the moment. Right, and then we go across to the CD32. Now these have gone bloody expensive to buy. Again, I've had this donkey's years. Basically an Amiga 1200 in console form with the CD-ROM drive. Got some cracking games for this. Again, not that many. I didn't have many back in the day, but the Dizzy collection and the Lotus collection, phenomenal. Right, then we've got my original Wii from launch. Again, obviously I've still got the box. Great console. Never thought much of it back in the day, but really warmed to it in recent years, and now I think it's absolutely fantastic. Great to collect for. A lot of cheap games. Yes, there are some which are dear, but they're only going to get dearer once people realise how good it was. Then we've got my PC Engine Duo R. Unfortunately it's missing. There should be a flap over the hue card cover. It was never on there when I bought it. It's not something I've broke off. Not mint, but perfectly usable. Had it ages, and it's a mega console. Can't go wrong with the Duo. And the PC Engine in general, it's an amazing console. Then it's a bit dark down there. Now that's not going to work. Yeah, this is my Neo Geo CDZ. I'll just pull it forward so you can see it, if I can. There we go. Yeah, it's my Neo Geo CDZ. Again, one of my big regrets is selling my AES console. I did that when I had my original CD back in the day, but they were so slow to load. I regretted selling my AES not long afterwards, really. And then, you know, I've had this quite a few years now, but obviously after the original CD came out, a bit later down the line, they launched the CDZ, which had a faster CD drive, and the loading on this isn't too bad. So it's quite a good medium, really. I mean, it's not as cheap to collect for as it once was, but it's obviously cheaper than AES games. So I can't see me getting another AES because they're so expensive now. So, you know, I'm happy with the CDZ. The Neo Geo is an amazing machine, and it was kind of, you know, the holy grail of many people's console wishes, because they were just so expensive back in the day. You know, I was fortunate to be able to have the AES console when it was like, you know, it was like buying a Ferrari in console terms, really. Then on the bottom we've got my 3DO, and this is the American one. Again, the PAL one's bloody shocking with borders and slow speed. The American one's fantastic. I was big into this back in the day, and it's never kind of left me. It's such, I don't know, it's kind of been forgotten a bit now, really, but at the time it was absolutely groundbreaking, and it was doing stuff that you couldn't possibly imagine. You know, you jump from a Mega Drive to this, and I know time's not been that kind to it, but it was just revolutionary. This was. It just quickly got surpassed with the PlayStation and the Saturn, but it was so revolutionary. Honestly, it's still great now. I'm a big fan of the 3DO. There's some cracking games on it. And then that's my step-down transformer to play all my imported consoles, and we've got another one there as well. Now there are quite a few leads knocking about, as you can see, and cables. Doesn't worry me too much. You know, you've got to have them, so I don't get too stressed with it. Right, that's as much as you can see in the background to the videos. Then up the top we've got my Neo Geo Mini. Fantastic console. Really didn't expect much when I bought it, but honestly I think they're brilliant. And then panning down, we've got Bully. I forgot. You can make him talk somehow, I forgot. Oh, there we go. Can't beat a bit of Bully. Right, then moving across, this is my main CRT, which is a Sony. I think it's 25-inch. You've got to have a Sony CRT, in my opinion. And then next to it, well, I'll start there. You can see this is another Retron HD. Now I've had this one longer. This one isn't HDMI, it's just composite. And I use this one for NTSC games. So all my Japanese Famicom and USA NES games that I play on this, on the CRT, and again, absolutely brilliant. They come with really nice sort of retro styled controllers, but they feel a bit better than the originals to me. And then underneath we've got a crystal Xbox. That's just unmodified standard, but it's just nice to have it running on the CRT as it was intended. And then underneath we've got cable hell, my switch carry case. We've got all kinds of transformers, plugs, step downs. It's all marked up so I know where everything is. But yeah, that's that. And then above that we've got a speaker which is connected to anything connected to the TV plays through the speaker, which has got a sub as well, so it sounds great. And then we've got just a couple of display pieces there. We've got my Evercade Versus box and the Switch box. Right, now one of the greatest games ever made. This is my main TV, which is an LG, as you can see. I think this is 42 inch, I think. And then connected to this we've got the NES Mini on the top there, as you can see. It's the PS3 running this, obviously, or it could have been the Xbox, I suppose, but it's the PS3. Right, then panning down, we've got the sub at the side there, and as you can see then we've got, we'll start at top there, we've got the Wii U, and there, that's my standard PAL Wii U. And then above the Wii U we've got my American Wii, which will play obviously American Wii or GameCube games. And then we've got a recent acquisition, we've then got the Xbox One. Then underneath that we've got my original fat PS3, had that from launch. Great console, still works fantastic. And then next to that, my other new acquisition, my PS4, which I'm absolutely loving, to be honest with you. It's really blown my mind how much more I think of it this time, the second time round, than I did when I had it at launch. I'm really chuffed I've bought it. And then, now you could have a heart attack now. It's cable held down there as well. But again, it's everything's marked up. I know where everything is. It doesn't worry me. Right, so panning back, we've then got just a couple of display pieces there on the wall. Just some framed Mega Drive artwork, all Japanese. I just thought it was quite nice. And then we've got, we'll go down. We've then got the Switch dock down there, and the Pro controller. We've got the PC Engine Mini, and then we've got that's a UK silver fat PS2. We've got the box for that as well, on the Xbox 360, sorry I forgot that. And then we've got my original Japanese fat PS2, had that from launch with Ridge Racer, what is it, 6? No, 5, sorry. God, the hours I've spent on that. Obviously plays Japanese PS1 or PS2 games. Fantastic console. And then we've got some boxes there which have just got my PC Engine. It's kind of random sort of stuff I haven't got much for in these boxes. It's PC Engine, Neo Geo CD, CD32, and then we've got some controllers in the top box. And then we've got, now that's my pixel frame that used to be at the back of the videos. And this area, it's only since I've been on YouTube I've had this area like this, and it was predominantly for doing any sort of gameplay footage, and I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about changing this around at some point and making shelves for actual games here. I'm undecided. Here obviously you can see we've got, that's just a PAL Wii, a PAL Wii. Then we've got a Retro Duo, which is kind of similar to the Retrons. This just plays NES or SNES, NTSC. I think it plays, no, that's just it, that just plays NTSC I think. I only use it for that anyway. And then we've got my Japanese Mega Drive 1 in quite nice condition. Again, I've got the box and everything for that. It's cracking system. I think it's my favourite Mega Drive, that, the Japanese Mark 1. I just love the red detailing on it and the blue start button. Really nice. And then we've got, that's a Mega Drive infrared receiver for the infrared pads. And yeah, this, like I say, I put this TV here simply for capturing game footage, but I don't know, I might change it, and because the nature of the room, I had to decide whether I wanted games on show or I just wanted consoles on show and TVs, so everything was set up ready to go. And in my previous house I had more games on display, but when I moved here I decided I wanted consoles sort of set up and ready to go, because I couldn't use, you know, I never used to be arsed setting stuff up when it wasn't ready to go. And so I decided to, like I say, sort of sacrifice having games on display in order to be able to have all my consoles set up ready to play and just keep my games in boxes. So I don't know, I might change this for shelving for games, but I'm not sure there'd be enough shelving for the games anyway, and I do quite like this setup, so I don't know, it's something I'm thinking about. Then on the top shelf, these are my big box Wii U special sets: Twilight Princess, Mario Maker, Splatoon and Mario Kart 8. And then on the top we've got the two new Game & Watch consoles that loads of people have picked up. And this is just a display wall of some of my favourite games, just empty boxes basically, but it just fills a gap, and it just, you know, it's nice to see some of my favourites on the wall. And then we've got the sofa ready to lie back and enjoy some glorious Daytona. God, this video is dragging on, sorry guys. Right, we're not that far away now. Across this back wall there's not much to show here, so this is, but it is kind of a display that it's one of my favourite parts of the collection really. And this is where I keep my arcade sticks, which I've really got into lately, and picked a few more up. There are still a couple I'm looking for, but we've got, that's another arcade stick for an iPad for playing games, and you can put the iPad in that either way to run it sort of in tight mode or a widescreen mode. It's a nice quality stick. Arcade. There is an actual tabletop arcade sort of box that you put your iPad in to turn it into a tabletop arcade machine, and I did have one of them once, but sold it unfortunately. That's a Logic 3 stick that runs on either an Xbox, PlayStation 2 or GameCube. Quite useful. It's not the best stick in the world, but it's great that you've got the versatility that it runs on 3 different consoles. Then you've got the Mega Drive arcade power stick, really nice quality stick that is. Then, not had that one too long, it's the Switch mini fighting stick by Hori. Big fan of Hori stuff, I think they make real nice products. Then we've got the SNES fighting stick, which I've picked up quite recently. Then we've got another Logic 3 stick. This is for the GameCube exclusively, and it's reasonable. I mean, there aren't that many games on the GameCube to use it with, but it's not the best stick in the world, but it's okay. And then we've got a NES Advantage. I forgot to say actually, this is where I keep a lot of my controllers. So moving across, that's just a speaker, and then we've got the Quick Shot arcade stick. Now these, you can get these 2 or 3 button, because you can use them on a Mega Drive if you get the 3-button one. But this one has got, you can see the switch there, 4 different settings to run it on, like Master System, Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad, and it's a real nice quality stick. I'm a big fan of these. I've got a couple of these in case one breaks. But it's a cracking little arcade stick, great for the Master System. And then we've got the PC Engine arcade stick, and then we've got the Saturn arcade stick, Japanese version, obviously, real nice. And then we've got the Mega Drive 6-button arcade stick, which is actually the same as the SNES one, back down there. And then we've got a PS3 arcade stick by Hori again. Then we've got the Xbox 360 Hori arcade stick. And then we've got the PlayStation ASCIIware stick, which I just love the look of this. I think it's amazing. So in keeping with the actual console, love it. And then we're back to the Spectrum again. A couple of nice cruisers, aren't they, those joysticks? So yeah, I do like having all the sticks lined up as a display piece. It's one of my favourite parts of the collection, having them all lined up. And like I say, there's still a few I'm after. I want a Dreamcast one, and I'd like to get one for the Wii, and I need a Neo Geo one as well. So yeah, there's the I'll just try and pan around slowly. So there we go, guys, that's the room. Not the best room in the world, but it'll have to do. I wish it was a bit bigger. Like I say, I've got nowhere to display games unless I change this wall around a lot. But because of the nature of the roof, I'm not convinced I'd get many games there anyway, so I don't think I'd be much further forward. So I may just keep it as it is, to be honest. Right, I think all I've got left to show you now. Oh, actually, I could just show you. Yeah, talking about game storage. This is kind of, I just have to store them in boxes. As you can see, I keep them all sort of together. I've got, obviously, you can see Dreamcast together, and Mega Drive together, and Wii U together, and SNES together, and GameCube together, and Switch together, and you know. But it is what it is. It's the best I can do. Not ideal, but I'd much rather have my consoles ready to fire up with anything I want, and then I can just whip the box out with whatever games I need for the machine I'm playing on, and away I go. Right, I think the last thing I'll show you, I'll just turn the lights off and you can see it lit up without the main light. the great thing about these LED lights is you can control and make the colour what you like. So I just like the neon. I like neon, as you can probably tell from all the pink backdrops I use. It just looks cool, I think. Well, I like it anyway. There's not actually much down that end. I've come to the wrong end really. I'd have been better standing this end and panning round. So there we go. That's it. I'm sorry it's dragged on a while. I hope you haven't fallen asleep. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for all the subs. Really appreciate it. And hope you enjoyed the tour. And I look forward to see you on the next video. And remember to choose retro. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be seeing you.